At my birthday celebration, I was set to reveal my pregnancy. Instead, my boyfriend presented me with a gift box. Inside was a note that declared, "I'm done with you, you're worthless, and I deserve someone better." The room erupted in laughter as he walked out. Our friends stared at me, anticipating my response. I just grinned because he had no clue what I was capable of. 2 months later, he was intoxicated outside my home, yelling my name. I'd been with Justin for just over 3 years. He was charismatic and attentive, always locking eyes with me instead of scanning the room for someone more captivating. Our relationship progressed swiftly. By our first anniversary, we were sharing a cozy apartment we could barely afford. The timing wasn't ideal financially, but rent in this city is outrageous no matter when you move. Our bond wasn't flawless, but it felt secure. We shared dreams of owning a home, traveling, and maybe starting a family someday. Justin cared more about appearances than I did. He obsessed over our car, the restaurants we frequented, and curating perfect social media posts. I should have noticed that warning sign, but looking back always brings clarity, doesn't it? 4 months ago, I felt unwell, nauseous in the mornings, constantly drained. I took a pregnancy test, mostly to dismiss the possibility. We were cautious, but not overly so. 2 pink lines appeared. I sat on the bathroom floor, staring at that plastic stick like it was an ancient riddle. It took me a week to process before confiding in anyone. My best friend Barbara was the first to know. She brought wine to our girls' night, and when I stuck to water, she guessed instantly. She asked all the right questions, my plans, how Justin might react, practical matters like insurance and maternity leave. Her support helped me clarify my thoughts. I decided to hold off telling Justin. My birthday was 3 weeks away, and it felt like the perfect moment. We'd already planned a small gathering at our apartment with close friends, and I thought sharing the news with everyone I loved would be memorable. Oh, how hindsight stings. The weeks before my birthday were odd. I battled morning sickness, misnamed as it struck all day, and hid it from Justin. He didn't notice, which I chalked up to his busy schedule. He came home later, glued to his phone, a bit distant. I assumed work stress was to blame. My birthday landed on a Saturday. I spent the morning preparing while Justin went to fetch the cake, which somehow took him 3 hours. Friends arrived around 6 p.m. Barbara and her husband, our pals Erin and Sergio, my cousin Lana, who was in town, and others, including Maria, a college friend. The party was lively, great food, flowing drinks, sparkling water masquerading as a cocktail for me, music and laughter. I planned to share my news after cake, exchanging excited glances with Barbara across the room. Her subtle nods made my stomach flutter with anticipation. Around 9 p.m, Justin tapped his glass, silencing the room. My heart raced. Had he somehow found out? Was he stealing my moment? He gave a heartfelt speech about how much I meant to him, gazing into my eyes. Then he handed me a small, elegantly wrapped box tied with a silk ribbon. The room hushed. Everyone watched, some ready to record the moment. I briefly thought it might be a proposal, wondering if I should still announce the pregnancy if he proposed. I opened the box, no ring, just a folded piece of paper. Confused, I unfolded it and read words now seared into my memory. "I'm done with you. You're worthless. I deserve someone better. Your things will be packed by Monday." I looked at him, expecting a cruel prank, but his face had shifted. Cold, detached, almost smug. Then he announced loudly that we were over, that it had been fun, but he'd outgrown me. He laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. A few guests chuckled, assuming it was a planned joke. But Justin turned and walked out the door without another word. The silence was crushing. I stood there, note in hand, my pregnancy announcement stuck in my throat, as our friends glanced between me and the door, waiting for a "just kidding" that never came. Barbara moved first, crossing the room to snatch the note, read it, and muttered that he was a complete jerk. Then everyone spoke at once, confusion, concern, anger on my behalf. And me. I smiled. Not because I wasn't crushed, I was. Not because I wasn't humiliated, I was. But in that moment, I realized something vital. Justin had no idea what was coming. He thought he'd staged the perfect exit, a public dismantling of our relationship where he held all the power. But he didn't know I was pregnant with his child. He didn't know I'd found his hidden credit card statements 2 weeks earlier while searching for a stamp. He didn't know I'd seen the messages on his Apple Watch while he showered. He really should have enabled 2-factor authentication. Most importantly, he didn't know I'm not the type to crumble under pressure. I'm the type who gets calculated. So I smiled. I thanked everyone for coming, assured them I was fine, I wasn't, and told them not to worry. They did. I even cut Barbara's birthday cake and handed out slices, as if celebrating a new chapter rather than grieving one. Maria left abruptly, claiming she felt ill. Suspicious timing, right? We'll get to her. The others stayed, helping clean up, offering places to crash or shoulders to lean on. Jokes about cover stories for revenge. Mostly kidding. By midnight, only Barbara remained, insisting on crashing on my couch despite my objections. Alone, I finally broke. The pregnancy, the betrayal, the public shame, it all hit at once. Barbara held me as I sobbed, offering no empty promises or trite sayings like, "Everything happens for a reason." Around 2 a.m., I told her about the pregnancy. She wasn't shocked, saying she'd suspected from my behavior. Then I showed her the credit card statements, hotel bookings, pricey dinners, jewelry never gifted to me. I shared screenshots of texts to M with heart emojis and meetup plans for when I worked late. We both knew who M was, especially after Maria's quick exit. We talked until sunrise, weighing options, plotting next steps. Barbara asked about telling Justin about the baby, but I was firm. He'd find out on my terms when I was ready. As for his affair with Maria and the financial deceit, I wouldn't stoop to petty vengeance, but I'd ensure the truth surfaced. Barbara looked at me with a mix of worry and respect, noting I could be intimidating when determined. I laughed, a genuine laugh, my first since that awful box. That night, alone in bed, hand on my flat stomach, I made 2 vows. To my unborn child, a promise of a stable, loving home, and to myself, a promise to emerge stronger. Justin thought his cruel note ended our story, but my true crime podcast obsession taught me that revenge takes patience, precision, and clarity, all of which I had in spades. Hey Reddit, Lily here with the update I promised. Thanks for the kind comments on my last post. It's strange how internet strangers can sometimes outshine longtime friends in kindness, isn't it? Where did I leave off? The catastrophic birthday party. Justin had just stormed out after humiliating me, leaving me stunned with a secret pregnancy only Barbara knew about. Let's dive into what followed. The next morning, I woke to the aroma of coffee and pancakes. Barbara, bless her, was still there, acting normal while subtly checking on me. She insisted I eat, worried about the baby. I managed a few bites before nausea hit. Morning sickness is a cruel misnomer. Justin didn't return that Sunday, a mix of relief and agony. I spent the day cycling through numbness, fury, and a strange focused calm. I made lists, endless lists, finances to untangle, doctor visits to book, people to notify. My brain switched to survival mode, prioritizing tasks to dodge the emotional storm. Barbara helped pack some of Justin's things, not everything, just enough to signal he wasn't welcome back. My phone buzzed non-stop with friends' messages, most supportive, some just fishing for gossip, notably silent. Maria, the one who fled the party claiming illness. Monday hit hard. I called in sick to work, a rarity for me, and booked a doctor's appointment to confirm the pregnancy. Around noon, while researching tenant rights, our lease was in both names, Justin texted, "I'll be by at 7 to grab my stuff, make sure you're not there." The nerve. I stared at the message for 5 minutes before replying, "No." Just that, no explanation, no compromise. He called instantly. I declined. I phoned Barbara, who assembled a crew. By 6:30 p.m, my apartment was a fortress of friends. Erin, Sergio, Lana, who stayed longer, and others. Justin arrived at 7 sharp. His face when he saw the crowd, gold. He tried to play tough, demanding answers, but Erin, a towering 6'4", handed him a single suitcase with essentials. Erin stated firmly that the rest of his things would wait until he arranged a proper time with basic respect. For now, this was it. Justin tried to meet my gaze as I sat calmly on the couch. He complained it was absurd, insisting I let him take his stuff. I told him he was lucky I hadn't changed the locks yet, and we'd discuss his belongings after I processed his birthday gift. He argued, but something in my tone stopped him. He grabbed the suitcase and left, muttering about me needing an audience. Ironic, coming from the guy who dumped me publicly, right? After he left, I cried. Not for him, but for the future I'd imagined. The plans I had to rewrite. The child who deserved better than a father so cruel. The next day, I had the locks changed. Now, Maria. Her swift party exit fueled my suspicions, but I needed proof. It came unexpectedly. Sergio texted Tuesday evening, revealing he and Aaron had seen Justin and Maria together 2 months earlier, but weren't sure it was romantic. He apologized for not telling me sooner. It felt like a gut punch and a validation. I'd known Justin was cheating, just not with whom. Learning it was Maria, a friend who'd shared my home and my trust, was a unique betrayal. Instead of confronting them, I chose to observe, gather facts. Maybe it's the true crime podcasts, but patience is everything here. The next week, I tackled practicalities. I confirmed the pregnancy 10 weeks along. I consulted a lawyer about the lease and asset division. No marriage meant no divorce mess. I froze our joint credit card and opened a solo bank account, basic safeguards. I kept the pregnancy secret except with Barbara. It wasn't denial, it was strategy. I needed to be prepared. 2 weeks post-disaster, Justin texted, wanting to talk and collect more stuff. I agreed to meet at a coffee shop near the apartment, public, daytime, my terms. He looked awful, which I'm not proud to say, satisfied me. Unshaven, dark circles, wrinkled shirt. He launched into a weak explanation. He'd been unhappy, felt trapped, thought a clean break was best. I let him ramble before asking if Maria made him happy. His shock was comical, pure panic. He denied it unconvincingly. I cut him off, revealing I knew about Maria, the hotel charges, the jewelry bought with rent money. I demanded honesty. He deflated, unable to counter. I told him he could retrieve his things Saturday at 2 p.m, with Erin supervising, and after that, I wanted contact only through my lawyer. His voice cracked at lawyer, insisting we could sort it out ourselves. I stayed calm, saying his birthday stunt set the terms, and I was honoring them. As I stood to leave, he grabbed my wrist, not hard, but desperate. He asked how I'd afford the apartment alone, implying my job couldn't cover rent. That's when it clicked. His real concern wasn't closure, it was money. What he didn't know, or conveniently forgot, was that I'd been paying over half the rent for a year. His income had dwindled, his job shaky, yet he'd used my steady paycheck to prop up his image while wooing Maria. I smiled and said I'd manage, unlike some who spent on hotels and jewelry. His face paled. He knew I had him figured out. I left the coffee shop feeling lighter, not from winning a fight, but from seeing Justin clearly. A man obsessed with image over substance, lying to seem successful, discarding me when I no longer fit his story. Saturday arrived. Erin oversaw Justin collecting more belongings while I attended a prenatal yoga class. Highly recommend for stress. When I returned, the apartment felt emptier but more mine. I rearranged furniture, reclaiming the space. Over the next weeks, I built a new routine: work, doctor visits, budgeting. I wasn't just coping, I was planning a future, different but not worse than before. Justin and Maria's romance. Not exactly flourishing. Through Sergio's cousin, who works at a restaurant they frequented, I heard they argued publicly. Maria was reportedly unhappy with her prize. Apparently, Justin had exaggerated his financial stability. Shocker. A month after our coffee shop talk, I ran into Maria at the grocery store, comparing prenatal vitamin prices. She looked startled, guilty, then defiant. She said I looked well. I noted she looked exhausted, and she did. After an awkward pause, she admitted Justin had claimed we were already separated when they started dating, that we were just coexisting until the lease ended. I said it didn't matter now. She had him, and I wished her luck. As I turned to leave, she said he wasn't what she thought, promising things he couldn't deliver. I glanced back at this woman, once a friend, now diminished by her choices. I told her that was her problem, not mine. 6 weeks post-breakup, my pregnancy reached 17 weeks and a small bump appeared. I started sharing the news, first with my boss, who offered flexible hours, then with friends and family. Word spread, and I knew it'd reach Justin eventually. I wasn't hiding anymore. This baby was real, with or without him. 7 weeks after the breakup, Justin sent frantic texts. "Is it true? You're pregnant. Why didn't you tell me? We need to talk now." I didn't reply, not out of spite, but because I wasn't ready to define his role in our child's life. The texts grew desperate. "I have rights. You can't keep my kid from me." The last one, threatening to show up, prompted a response. I warned him not to come uninvited, or I'd call the police, promising to discuss things when I was ready. He backed off for 2 days. Then, as foreshadowed, he appeared. Past 11 p.m, I was reading a pregnancy book when I heard a car door slam, footsteps, then pounding on my door. Justin's slurred voice shouted my name, demanding to talk about our baby. My heart raced. Call the cops? Call Erin? Hide? Then I heard him crying, drunk, sobbing, alternating between demands and pleas. He'd made a mistake, wanted to fix things, insisted the baby was his too. Despite his cruelty, I felt a flicker of recognition. Not pity, but understanding. His grand escape, his new life with Maria, his freedom from worthless me, it was unraveling. Through the closed door, I told him to go home, that we'd talk when he was sober. He shouted he needed to know if it was true. I confirmed I was 18 weeks pregnant with his child, but this wasn't the time or way to discuss it. A thud, his head or fist, hit the door. He mumbled that Maria dumped him, saying he'd lied about everything. I remarked that sounded familiar. He laughed, a hollow sound, and begged to come in. I refused but offered to meet at the Main Street Cafe at 10 a.m. tomorrow, warning that if he was late or drunk, we were done. After a long silence, he agreed. I heard uneven footsteps, then a car engine. Not his, thankfully. He'd called a ride. His text came later. "I'm sorry for the party, the note tonight. I'll fix this." I didn't reply. Words were cheap, Justin's specialty. I needed actions, especially with a baby coming. "Hey Reddit, sorry for the delay. Life's been wild." I met Justin at the cafe as promised, half expecting him to flake. But at 9:55 a.m, there he was, looking wrecked. Bloodshot eyes, yesterday's clothes, leg jiggling so hard the table shook. He'd ordered me a decaf latte. Thoughtful, except coffee now makes me nauseous. I'm all about herbal tea these days. It was classic Justin. Assuming instead of asking, the meeting was intense. He unleashed a flood of apologies for the birthday stunt, the cheating, the financial lies, the drunken visit. It felt like he was racing through a checklist of regrets. I sipped my tea, ordered to replace the latte, and let him exhaust himself. Silence when someone expects a reaction. Powerful. When he petered out, I asked what he wanted. He fumbled, mentioning being involved, doing right, maybe reconciling. I laughed, not cruelly, just shocked he thought we could reconnect. I laid out the rules. I'd consulted a lawyer about custody and child support. His face at lawyer was pure panic. I said I wouldn't block his involvement, but trust had to be earned. Scheduled visits, financial accountability, consistency, not just when it suited him. He kept circling back to us, and I redirected to co-parenting. Frustrated, he called me cold. I reminded him his birthday note was the definition of cold, but mine was to protect our child, not stroke an ego. That silenced him. I handed him a folder with baby details. Ultrasound images, due date, doctor info, and a draft child support agreement, telling him to review it, get a lawyer if needed, and share his thoughts later. As I stood to leave, he grabbed my wrist, again, dude, stop, and asked if Maria knew about the baby. I said that wasn't my news to share, but I hadn't told her. I freed my hand and left. The next weeks were quieter. I turned half my bedroom into a nursery, IKEA crib, 3-hour assembly nightmare, second-hand changing table, Star Mobile from my mum. I saved aggressively, taking weekend social media editing gigs, not fancy, but it covered Justin's share of expenses. My mum sent money, which felt both sweet and awkward. I'm fiercely independent. Justin texted sporadically, asking about the baby or nursery updates. I kept responses factual, sidestepping his personal probes about dating or old shared shows. Then came the incident. At Target, stocking up on diapers, mum blogs swear you need $1 million, I bumped carts with Maria. She wasn't awkward this time, almost relieved. She asked about my pregnancy, genuinely curious, then apologized sincerely for the pain she'd caused. She said Justin told her we were over, just cohabiting, and that I held him back. She also learned he was seeing another woman while with her. We shared a wry laugh at the irony. Over coffee, tea for me, we dissected the man we now saw clearly. Not evil, just insecure, craving validation through lies. As we parted, she mentioned Justin lost his job 2 weeks earlier, relevant for child support. I thanked her and went home, processing. That evening, Justin showed up, sober but rough. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. He rambled about his job loss, not his fault, naturally, and asked if I'd seen Maria, suspicious. I confirmed our Target run-in, saying we discussed him. He didn't like that, accusing us of plotting. I countered that he created this mess with his choices, not me. Then he crumbled. Not theatrical, just defeated. No job, no girlfriend, a barely affordable apartment, an unexpected baby. I almost comforted him, but his note's words, "You're worthless," has stopped me. Instead, I offered truth. He could wallow and lose everything or step up and rebuild. For the first time, he listened. No excuses, just absorbing. He asked to talk inside. I hesitated, then agreed, keeping the door open. He asked real questions about the baby, health, development, delivery plans. I realized I no longer loved him, but wanted him stable for our child's sake. He promised to review the support agreement, find work, and thanked me for not hating him. I said hate was too draining. I was saving energy for bigger things. The next week showed change. Justin got a lower-paying but stable job, signed the support agreement, and joined a parenting class. As my due date neared, we built a cautious co-parenting dynamic. He attended doctor visits when invited, even helped with the crib. Last week, he sent a simple journal with a note. For your plans, thoughts, and podcast notes, you were never worthless. I was too selfish to see your worth. I didn't reply but started using it to document this journey for our child. Hey Reddit fam, it's been ages. Newborn life leaves zero time or brain power. Baby Zoe arrived 6 weeks ago, 7 pounds, 4 ounces, with dark hair and Justin's chin, the one trait I don't mind. Labour was brutal, 32 hours. Amid contractions, I reflected on my transformation since that birthday disaster. 8 months ago, I was shattered, clutching a breakup note. Now I was birthing a human. Life's wild. Justin showed up for the birth, surprising everyone, with a giant teddy bear that wouldn't fit my hospital room. He stayed through my not-so-charming screams, hovering awkwardly, scrolling his phone, occasionally offering help. Barbara was my anchor, reminding me I was already succeeding when I doubted myself. When Zoe was placed on my chest, clarity hit. Every heartbreak, betrayal, uncertainty led to her. I wouldn't change a thing. Justin cried, holding her. Messy, genuine tears, the realest emotion I'd seen from him. The first weeks home were a haze of diapers, feeding struggles, and sleep deprivation. My mum stayed 2 weeks, reorganising my kitchen chaotically, colanders with pots. Why question mark? Justin visits thrice weekly, bringing diapers, takeout, or absurd baby clothes, like a tiny leather jacket. I didn't tell him Zoe will outgrow it before fall. Co-parenting is a work in progress. We clash when he's late or cancels, but we have normal moments too, like when he researched remedies for my clogged milk duct and brought cabbage leaves. Financially, we're stable. Justin pays support on time, I work part-time from home, and my landlord let me renew the lease solo. I repainted the living room sage green. It lifts my mood. Maria and I cross paths sometimes. It's less tense now, like seeing a distant acquaintance. She's with a new guy, seems content. I hope she is. Justin's struggling. New job's shaky. His studio apartment's grim. Sometimes he looks at my place with regret or nostalgia. Shockingly, he's in therapy and a dad group, reading parenting books. The guy who mocked therapy is now a pod person. My life's shifted too. Sergio's sister got me a part-time social media job, flexible and fun. Then there's Eli, my grocery delivery guy. His notes with orders, dad jokes or parent tips made me smile. One frazzled day, he offered to carry water cases inside. Something about him felt safe. As we chatted, putting away groceries, I felt a spark. Next time, I'll share Zoe's birth details and Justin's journey into fatherhood. People surprise you with cruelty, growth, and humanity.